Be meaningful, respectful, and transparent as we strive to uplift the standards in these industries, especially the air conditioning industry. We ask, dear God, that you grant us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to engage in a meaningful way and bring about positive change. Amen.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege and a pleasure to have you all with us on Air Conditioning and Refrigeration Talks. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that Air Conditioning and Refrigeration Talk is live. Tonight again, as usual, we try our utmost to bring a level of simplicity in terms of air conditioning and refrigeration. The air conditioning and refrigeration industry is vast, it's wide, and there are different aspects in the air conditioning industry which we on Air Conditioning and Refrigeration Talks would try to bring forward to all those who are viewing us. And tonight, we have two young men, two esteemed gentlemen, who would speak on another aspect of air conditioning. They are about to speak about chillers. So as I would invite the two distinguished guests to speak on chillers, so on my left, we have Mr. Sterling Haricharan.
Yes.
And on my right, we have
Mr. Rodson Scott.
Mr. Rodson Scott. I like to provoke people with that culture. I like to know people here. You know, they are here.
Nice, nice.
Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, with me are these two distinguished young men who tonight I will give the floor, as I said, who would explain the cooling aspect in tonight's program of chillers. Without further ado, I will ask the two young men, each one of them, anyone can start to give a preamble of themselves as to who they are. Give an idea as to what's behind their name, all the hard work, as to where they are today. So anyone could go ahead.
Good night, everyone. Rodson Scott. Steve, firstly, I want to thank you for creating such a platform for air conditioning practitioners. I think it's long overdue, a forum where, passionate air conditioning technicians, consumers, and users can learn, can share. I think I can't wait to see it grow from strength to strength. My name is Rodson Scott. I am a 37-year veteran of this industry, the managing director of Scott's Global Limited. We are an air conditioning contracting company. We do service, maintenance, repair of air conditioning systems from residential, commercial, and industrial air conditioning. We have been in business for the past 12 to 15 years, registered, but I have worked with a number of the larger air conditioning companies in the country, Kind of Control and Peaks and so on, and I remain passionate about in this industry. This is an industry that is vastly transforming in terms of technology and environmental impact and so on. And with the little knowledge I have, I'm always happy to share with anyone who's willing to learn. That's me in a nutshell.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Scott. Thank you very much, and I must thank you for the acknowledgement in terms of this program. So I'll now take you over to Mr. Sterling, who will give us an idea as to who is Mr. Sterling.
Okay, so good evening, viewers. Thanks for the opportunity inviting me here. My name is Sterling Haricharan, as I was previously introduced. I work at Peak Technologies for the past 19 years. I have been employed, working not only on chillers, but in and around the HVAC industry. I'm also a level 1, level 2, level 3 CM graduate at ARIA, where they teach air conditioning. I currently am pursuing my further studies in the industry. And tonight we'll be talking a little bit about chillers. So I represent Peak Technologies, leaders in cooling technology. Right?
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, the two gentlemen here, as they indicated, one is 30-something years and one is
19.
19 years. So that is experience. Who is speaking to you tonight? Certified and also registered business. You see, we would like the listening and viewing public to understand that this discussion is broad, it is vast. Air conditioning. Air conditioning, most people might tell themselves that's a window unit and a little split unit is air conditioning. It's so vast, it's much more than that. There's numerous content in terms of air conditioning and refrigeration. So right away, I would like to have the two gentlemen. Well, I don't know if Mr. Scott would like to start first or Mr. Harry. Either way, so you all will speak on chillers. So ladies and gentlemen, as I said, this is a different dimension in the air conditioning industry. So tonight we are speaking on chillers, and the two distinguished young men will be speaking on chillers tonight. So we'll open the floor.
Well, we'll collaborate. You know, tonight we're talking about vapor compression systems, because there are different types of chillers. A chiller is a large piece of equipment primarily used in larger applications, larger commercial buildings. It is similar to your conventional mini split in that it has some similar components, but it's driven not only by a primary refrigerant. I know you talked about refrigerant at the last sitting.
Yes.
But in a chill water system, it has a secondary refrigerant, in that of water.
Right.
So the main refrigeration components, compressors and all the other components, cool water, which is then distributed to the cooling space. So a chill water system is a very complex piece of equipment that not only incorporates a high level of engineering, endeavor to design it, the equipment itself, to design the system for the application, but it's very costly, very expensive. So that, any aspiring technician should master the conventional system, make sure he has a full understanding of the conventional type system before moving into a chill water system. Because
not to cut you, but Director, I think we might have a photo of a chiller. So while Mr. Scott speaks, I think that we have a chiller, so while the viewing public will have an idea what a chiller looks like as you will continue.
Sure.
So you could continue the Director, right?
Well, this is what is called a water-cooled chiller. Now, chillers are often characterized by the cooling medium and the type of compressor it utilizes. This is a centrifugal compressor. So it uses a driving force of centrifugal forces to drive. This is a high-level machine. A water-cooled chiller has other components that work with it. A cooling tower that must cool the condenser water is driven by pumps. There's a picture of the pumps there. So these pumps not only drive the chill water aspect, but they also support the condenser aspect in cooling that condenser water down with the aid of a cooling tower. A chill water system is a really complex piece of equipment that must be supported by an equally complex set of controls and safeties and so on. So it's a different level of training that is required. Because we're dealing with warmer water, hot water, the water itself, calcium deposit, can be dropped off into the water and attach itself to the components of the chiller tubes and so on. So there must also be a chemical treatment component of a water-cooled chill water system. Again, chill water system, particularly the water-cooled systems, are extremely complex and requires a high level of training before one ventures into mastering being a chiller technician.
And so you indicated the chillers is working on chillers is very complex. So I would say each one has a different mindset as to how he wants to process his life. Process his life meaning how far he wishes to go in life into whatever he chooses.
Sure.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
So while you just give a little idea as to what is a chill and what have you, I'll ask Mr. Sterling to know, I would say, piggyback on the same discussion as we speak about chillers tonight. So you can go ahead, Mr. Sterling.
Well, as Mr. Scott said, it's the same as a DX system in the terms of cooling. We all try to achieve one set temperature. So if your cooling medium requires, let's say, 70 degrees, a chill water system now generates the cooling medium to the water, transferring the temperature to your water. And your water now is used to travel throughout the building, removing the unwanted heat from the building and achieving a set point temperature. So in terms of the chill water system, it's basically used to control the temperature within a given space. But being more complex, as he said, yes, it takes a lot from an individual and a technician to learn and master a chill water system. As he showed previously, there are pumps, there are water. A lot of air conditioning technicians try to refrain from it a little bit and venture into it because they're afraid of the water side. Because in air conditioning, we all learn water is the enemy, meaning moisture and stuff in an HVAC system is a no-no. But in this system, our chill water system, now you will get a lot of water present because we use water as a medium of cooling the given space or the building or the structure or the piece of equipment that we're trying to maintain a certain temperature on. So not to go too far-fetched and get a little too sophisticated and complicated to confuse things, it's the same thing we're trying to achieve, maintaining temperature. So yes, it takes a lot of technical support, a lot of research, a lot of self-development. As an individual, you need to push yourself into HVAC, studying both heating and ventilation, because in the chill water system, now not to complicate here, but we could use the same chill water system. Instead of providing cooling, we could use it as a heat pump. There are reversing valves, in Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean. We try to stay on the track of cooling capacity, and technicians try to shun away themselves from heating. But in foreign, when it's winter, you need the heat present. So the chill water system could be used as a heat pump. Close enough. And to be frank about the swimming pools, we could use chill water system there to use as a heat pump to control the medium of water there.
To control the temperature of the water in the pool.
Yes, okay, control the temperature in the pool. For instance, all our marine boats, vessels, we use HVAC, which is DX systems, but the condensers are cooled with water as the medium, water-cooled condensers.
Right.
So basically, it's a lot about tube and tube, adventure into tube and tube, where heat transfer occurs with water. As he said, in the cooling tower, where the water goes through the cooling tower, you cool the water down, you cool the refrigerant down. By cooling the water, you send it back to the condenser, using that as a cooling medium in the system. We do have chill water systems where we have fans, air-cooled condensers we call them, air-cooled chillers, but it's still along the same line of chill water because we use the cooling aspect as the water to cool, take up the temperature we are trying to achieve the set point and use that as a medium to cool the building.
Okay, so let me ask a question. So I'll ask Mr. Scott this question. Could you give us an idea, or could you distinguish the difference between a DX system and a chill water system?
Well, it's called DX or direct expansion because the refrigerant is in direct contact with, essentially direct contact with the cooling load, so that warm air is in contact with a coil. This coil has the refrigerant. The refrigerant itself responds to that change in temperature and acts accordingly. So that's a direct expansion. Direct expansion systems are in your residential systems, Some commercial systems, they use direct expansion. So it's a compressor, a condensing unit. The compressor is pumping or compressing refrigerant, circulating it through the system. That is essentially direct expansion. In a chill water system, so the main cooling medium is the refrigerant that's responsible for the cooling. So that's the primary refrigerant. In a chill water system, there's the primary refrigerant that is responsible for the cooling, along with all the other components, compressor, condenser coil, and so on. But that system is now cooling water.
Water is the medium.
Water is the medium. Now there are variations of that, so they can be brine, so salt solution, mixture to alter the freezing point of water.
Okay, understand you.
And or you can use ethylene glycol as opposed to water. But predominantly we use water for human comfort applications. So that water is now considered a secondary refrigerant.
Okay.
Because the primary components is cooling this water, and then you're taking pumps now. These pumps will now pump this cold water to distribute it into air handling equipment that cools the space.
Where the fan will blow over the coil and you will cool it.
And cool, and cool the space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the main difference. So there are a lot of additional components added to a chill water system because as compared to a direct expansion or DX, there's no cooling tower.
Okay.
There's no water pump. There's no water treatment that's needed in a DX system. You know, there's a different type of training that you need for DX system. And even in chill water, you don't want cold water being distributed constantly. The water has to be controlled. Because you don't want people to, air conditioning is about comfort. So you want the space to be controlled. So to control the space, you need valves and temperature controls to throttle the amount of cold water that's going into the space. So I mean, a chill water system is wonderful, very complex, but this chiller industry is as of 2024, it's a $14 billion industry globally.
So I would like for you to repeat that figure, not 1,400, not 14,000, and not 14 million, 14
billion. And that's the global estimate. And that market, the chill water market, is estimated to grow by 5 to 6% through 2027. So it continues to grow. Chill water equipment is primarily used in larger commercial spaces, large buildings, because again, they're expensive, and there is a risk of using DX or direct expansion systems in larger buildings. Because there is a limitation to how far refrigerant can be transferred.
Based on the compressor?
Based on the compressor.
Roger on that.
Because the compressor now has to move hordes of refrigerant through long distances and far reaches and so on. It becomes a concern with oil return and pressure drop and all that, So engineers, depending on the design, has to weigh the options of DX or chill water systems, depending on the application, depending on the building constraints and so on. So those are the things that engineers work with to decide which one to use, the DX, multiple DX system, or one chiller plant distributing water everywhere.
So I can ask you before, as you say, multiple DX system and one chiller based on the application. So in terms of expenditure, dollars, cha-ching, which one you believe might be more economical in terms of, let's say we have this, we need an industrial system, and we work out the tonnage, we know what size chiller, we know how much DX systems, which at the end of the day, which one you figure would be more economical in terms of dollars and cents?
But there are many factors when you're designing a system that need to be considered. If you're going with a chiller, and then if you're going with a chiller, what type of chiller? Are we going with an air-cooled chiller that uses fans, electric fans, to cool the condenser air, which is the heat absorbed through the system? Or if we're using a water-cooled system, which has a higher initial outlay because now we're talking additional pumps, cooling towers, and so on to support the chiller, as well as training and maintenance and so on. So, again, the engineers, persons designing systems, have a number of things to consider: availability of water, availability of trained personnel, how deep the pockets are of the particular client.
Makes sense, yes, of course. That's the main thing.
And they look at the potential life cycle of the equipment and how long they want it to last.
Before they make the decision.
Before they make a decision.
Fair enough.
Because oftentimes going the cheaper route, which might be the direct expansion system, ends up being more costly in the long run.
In the long run, this is what I would like it is.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Because you put DX systems and put it under strain because it's long piping runs between one component and another.
And you keep losing you might run this for 5 years.
Correct.
And have the 6 years that they change compressors.
Yes,
so therefore, sometimes I just say based on the pocket,
correct,
they would purchase this, and at the long term it would work out more economically. Correct. So before, ladies and gentlemen, we were about to take a break, but before we take the break, I want to ask Mr. Sterling, we keep speaking about chillers. And when we come back from the break, I would like you to give us an idea as to the water content. You know, when we speak water for chillers, some people might feel you just have to open my pipe and let the water go in cheap.
Sure.
But there is much more scientific things to be done in terms of the water aspect. So we'll take a break, and when we come back from the break, I would like for you to expand on the water situation in terms of chillers, water chillers.
Sure.
So Director, you can take us to a break. See you soon.
Correct.
Due to climate change and increasing temperatures, Supreme Air Conditioning of 25 Councilman Circular Barataria has reduced the prices on all brand AC units, residential and commercial. Call us at 689-3087 or 365-1163. Already have air-conditioned units? Need reliable professional service? Then call Supreme Air Conditioning at 689-3087 or 365-1163. Supreme Air Conditioning is not only about competing prices. We do it right the first time.
A successful business is the quality of the human being that you have working in that business. If you have quality, you end up with a quality business. It's as simple as that.
Peak Technologies Limited is primarily an air conditioning contracting company. We offer commercial and residential air conditioning, sales, installation and service. Our our small unit sales division is responsible for sales and installation. That is for residential air conditioning. Then we have the commercial air conditioning aspect, where engineering does the design and installation along with ductwork and so on. We have our service department, which conducts all the maintenance servicing for our contract customers.
Thank you, Mom, for loving me. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Mama, for loving me. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Mama, for loving me. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Mom, for loving me. Happy Mother's Day. Mother's Day.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Air Conditioning and Refrigeration Talks, together with my two esteemed guests, Mr. Sterling and Mr. Scott. And tonight we are discussing chillers, another aspect in terms of air conditioning. Before we go back to Mr. Sterling, there is two segments which I place within Air Conditioning and Refrigeration Talks. As I say, breaking the ice segments. One of them is things that make you go, oops. And tonight, we will just go into that little segment. So the director will take us straight to things that make you go, oops. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, just to break the ice, things that make you go, oops. So back to the serious part of the conversation, where I'll take you to Mr. Sterling. The question was asked before the break, we are speaking chillers, we are speaking chill water systems. So he will give us an overview, an idea as to the water aspect of chillers.
Okay, so the importance of chill water treatment. The water, as Mr. Scott said, we could use glycol. For instance, we would treat the water with glycol where we have low temperature, trying to achieve lower temperature set points in certain equipment required being cool. That being said, we don't want to go below freezing point. So by treating the water with glycol, we prevent freezing, rupturing of tubes, causing costly repairs. Right? Beside that, we have the scaling, the pH levels. We look at extend the equipment lifespan. The scaling, we tend to get a lot of scale inside metals. So we tend to treat the water with chemicals that are not too harsh for the individuals working on the equipment, but to maintain proper metal surfaces, because the water transfers the temperature to the medium, and if you have corrosion build up, simple as the scales would affect our cooling medium.
Definitely.
So we tend to look at the water treatment plant, very important. We take it yearly, sometimes yearly maintenance is done. Evaporator tubes, water. Water flows in the evaporator from one direction, exits in the other direction. Now, with the water constantly flowing there, imagine it running there for a whole period of 1 year, you would get build-up, slush, debris, residue inside the tubings of the evaporators, causing a wrong heat exchange to occur. So we have maintenance where the technician needs now to back flush. When you do back flush, there's something called makeup water system, where you add water to the system. Now the water being added to the system is not treated. We tend to get our water supply from our water lines. We add water, be it, let me say we need 40 gallons of water, we put it into the system. Simple backwash. We check pH, we check scale level, we do a whole physical check on it. Chlorine, all those things. So it's basically maintaining a perfect water medium, not to affect our equipment, because rusting occurs nearly and almost everywhere in our HVAC system. But you don't want it inside the tubing now, where it affecting temperature change. So that's why we tend to keep the water at a certain quality.
Right, so just as how with a DX system, you will have your servicemen with a pressure washer.
Correct.
To wash your coils.
Correct.
The chillers now have a different format in terms of the servicing of the chill.
Well,
and you mentioned backwash and flush. So
right.
give us a better idea, kind of break it down as to what you mean by, you know?
In the servicing aspect, where equipments are required, generally speaking, it running 24 hours, you recommend every 3 months you service a unit. On our HVAC system, DX system, right? Same thing goes with a chiller, because you have the same cooling medium where water is passed inside the tube barrels, right? But also if you have an air-cooled condenser, a chill water air-cooled condenser, it would apply with the same serviceman, with the same power washer, washing the fins of the copper and the fins outside external condenser, because we're not dealing with the aspect of the dirt and debris outside the
DX system.
The chill water system. The chill water system too air cooled with that same condenser coil. But we wasn't dealing with that. We was dealing with the topic of the water medium inside the chiller, what you're trying to maintain. But we do have service guys doing the same servicing quarterly, on a quarterly servicing the chillers external, like washing on the condenser, washing the evaporator coils, changing air filters.
I'm more looking at where the water passes through.
Right, where the water passes.
I ain't talking about the condenser coil. I'm talking where the water passes through, that type of surface. And you know, we know where the condenser, you also need a pressure washer, but for the where the water, what kind of surface, how do you go about servicing where the water passes through the tubing to eliminate the rust and those grime and those type? But this is what I'm speaking about.
That's a little technical to explain what is a big wide aspect. We use chemicals to control the scaling.
Right.
But in the event, let's say our condenser tubes become overly burdened with scales that we not have a proper heat exchange of the refrigerant to the water. What we will do now, we call running a chiller.
Roger on that. This is where I want to go.
But that going fire?
No, but let's get a little overview. You see, when I speak about the service pump and the pressure washer, where most technicians would know about in the DX system, we speak in chillers. So you want to see the different levels of servicing where you speak about the rodding, and then you add a special pump to apply your solution to go through those coils to break down the, in other words, to maintain your proper temperature. Because we know with those chillers, as you indicated with the rust and grime and those things, you will get your proper temperature. And thereby your supply air within your space would be higher than normal.
Right, so in a perfect system, you want to minimize the amount of fouling, the amount of dirt that you get, whether it's DX or chill water. The difference with chill water is, and just I guess with a DX, is that you will see differences in the performance of the machine. So if you start having abnormal pressures, abnormal temperatures, abnormal amperages, and so on, you can test the water. So
Roger that. Correct. Yes.
You can do a water analysis both on the chill water side and the condenser side to determine the level of fouling, the level of contaminants within the water, a level of conductivity, so to gauge whether, but the system will show you telltale signs that the performance is waning, depending on the parameters that you're getting.
And,
right?
And this is why it's also important to have the right tools to identify the problems that you're having.
Right, and this is why you need to have a comprehensive understanding of not just the vapor compression side, but everything that supports it, the chill water and the pumps, the cooling tower.
Yes, everything is intertwined.
You must understand it collectively so you could diagnose a potential problem.
Definitely.
So
and it goes for both chillers and the X.
Well, the X, sure,
Yes,
but you have a higher level of complexity with the chiller.
Chiller, of course.
Yeah,
of
so
course.
that is the disadvantage, I guess, of the chill water system.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are now tuning in, we are speaking air conditioning, but on a higher scale, we are speaking about chillers tonight. Chillers, which most likely would be applied in spaces which more or less is industrialized spaces. There are also small chillers. Small chillers. As a matter of fact, I'll take it over to Mr. Sterling, so he will explain. So yes.
Well, before we go to Sterling, I just want to highlight that I'm also on the board of the Aerial Technical Institute.
1 second. Now, Mr. Scott, I want to
put
you're
it
supposed to say that, sir. But I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, when young people, excuse me, do the hard work and they turn away from a life of negativity and they put out the hard work to be positive, I think we should say it as is, without fear or favor. Yes, because it's a sacrifice, sir. So I'll give way, Mr. Scott.
Right. So at ARIA, we do training, more in-depth training on chill water systems. There's actually a seminar coming up on the 14th of June.
The 14th of June.
Right, which goes more in-depth into all the things that we're discussing now. And we're also developing a part 2 of chill water training, where we'll actually be going to a large chill water machine and going through the paces in terms of startup and troubleshooting.
Okay, so therefore you're saying practical and theoretical?
So there will be a practical component in the part 2. But on the 14th of June, there will be a chiller seminar, will be an all-day seminar, that goes in depth into all the things that we are touching on tonight.
Okay, and who would be tutoring that course, that particular course that night? Who would be tutoring? That would be the presenter?
I'm hoping to be there.
Okay, Mr. Scott. You're too modest. Anyway, so Mr. Scott will be hosting that program, and
just contact the office at ARIA.
Right, and now go to
get the
give
details
the relevant
of the
information.
Yeah, just contact the office. Go to the office now for
you can't remember. But the office, ladies, and the ARIA office, for all those who are interested, ARIA office is basically in the Kwesi San Juan, obliquely opposite the bus route.
Correct.
1 building or 2 buildings down from
Sherry's Roti Shop?
No, this mall, that's before. The Socorro Shopping Mall. The big grocery is right there.
By the Kwesi, that is True Value?
True Value.
Right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, True Value is like obliquely opposite the bus route. True Value is on the left in the Kwesi, the mall, and the ARIA office is like 2 buildings down. So, on the 14th of June, there will be a seminar or a course, however you want to put it, on chillers. So all the technicians who believe they want a little spooching up, I would say.
A better understanding of
or a better understanding. Thank you very much.
So we'll talk more about controls and the different components, the different type of compressors. We get more in depth into that, and it's a very good seminar. It takes the entire day because there's a lot to cover.
Okay.
So I would encourage everyone to partake and look forward to the part 2 that will be coming up sometime soon, where we actually go to a large air-cooled chill water machine to do some troubleshooting and some maintenance functions and so on. So stay tuned.
Okay. So again, I'll take it back to Mr. Sterling when I was speaking about the chillers and more so for industrial purposes. And there are also chill waters for small spaces. So, Mr. Sterling, you could give us an idea as to how small the chill water could be, you know, that kind of thing.
Okay, well, basically, air conditioning, we tend to use the cooling measurement in BTUs, right? So not to confuse you, 12,000 BTU is 1 ton of air conditioning, right?
And when you say BTU, the abbreviation BTU?
British terminal units, right?
So, yeah.
So we tend to use that as a form of measurement. We have chill water systems presently at Peak Technologies. We have 5-ton chillers. 5-ton chillers, you don't necessarily need 5 ton of coolant for a small area. Let's say you have a 12 by 12 bedroom. You would need, according to the given heat load, approximately 1 ton, give or take a ton and a half, which is 18,000 BTU. We could use our 5-ton unit at your residence to cool your whole house. So we'll put 1 condenser outside the house instead of having numerous condensers all around your house, which you find all your windows.
And that sounds very economical, yes.
Right?
It
could be secluded. It could be in one location of your residence where you could have technicians servicing it outside. You have any leak stuff going on outside, it's outside. And we could pipe it out. We could have a negotiation where clients could negotiate with the person they're buying from, purchasing from. And we could consult and tell you we could use copper tubing to transfer the water to each evaporator for each bedroom, or we could use PVC. Simple as high pressure pipes. We have Schedule 40. We have insulation for the Schedule 40 PVC where you won't get any condensation. It have a form of flexibility on those lines. So we could use that as a cheaper form of medium for a residential unit. There are chill water air handlers as small as 8,000 BTU, 4,000 BTU, 12,000 BTU for any given space. So we could put, let's say, that's 5 ton of coolant. You could put 5 evaporators, 12,000 BTU in your whole home, resident, bedroom, master bedroom. Give or take, your living room space may need a 24,000 BTU. You could upsize
with that one. So this
chiller.
is what I wanted to emphasize. So therefore, what you are saying, let's say someone wants a 12,000 BTU to cool a specific space, a bedroom, and they in the future would build more rooms.
Correct.
So what you would recommend to them, is we could install this 5-ton chiller.
Yes.
We will put valves to facilitate or shuttle to suit the temperature for one specific space. And as you build, you just add air handler, and that is very economical. I think I should stress on that.
It's very economical because in the sense of the aspect of power consumption these days.
So power consumption too.
The evaporator in your room there works. Now with the DX system, when it cycles off, the compressor cuts off. On a chill water system, you wouldn't have the condenser cutting off completely. You would have it maintaining at a low RPM. There are frequency drive chillers that we maintain the cooling medium. Let's say our set point is 44 on the water side. The chiller will always maintain 44 degrees. When the area given space in the bedroom decide the cooling capacity required, as you say, the actuator, because the actuator valve is a valve on the water line that turns on and off. It turns off when you reach the cooling capacity needed.
Right.
When you need coolant, the valve would open, allowing flow to there. But there's a bypass loop where the water will circulate into the system, not building PSI to damage and stuff. And it would facilitate the condenser ramping down, maintaining the same water temperature. So when you have a next bedroom now, and you turn on that bedroom, you don't have to wait for compressor to come on, ramp to 100, and the number TN charges by the RLA.
And when a DX system cycles off, what causes, you see the LRA?
Yes,
the starting amps?
Correct.
Boom, and that would have your electricity bill more or less higher than normal.
Exactly.
So I would like you to hold it there a bit while we take another break, Director. So Director, we'll take another break and we'll come back and speaking again with Mr. Scott and Mr. Sterling on chillers.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Mom, for loving me. Happy Mother's Day. Mother's Day.
Due to climate change and increasing temperatures, Supreme Air Conditioning of 25 Councilman Circular Barataria has reduced the prices on all brand AC units, residential and commercial. Call us at 689-3087 or 365-1163. Already have air-conditioned units? Need reliable professional service? Then call Supreme Air Conditioning at 689-3087 or 365-1163. Supreme Air Conditioning is not only about competing prices. We do it right the first time.
The key to a successful business is the quality of the human being that you have working in that business. If you have quality, you end up with a quality business. It's as simple as that.
Peak Technologies Limited is primarily an air conditioning contracting company. We offer commercial and residential air conditioning, sales, installation and service. Our small unit sales division is responsible for sales and installation, that is for residential air conditioning. Then we have the commercial air conditioning aspect where engineering does the design and installation along with ductwork and so on. We have our service department which conducts all the maintenance servicing for our contract customers.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We wish to thank you all for staying with us, Mr. Scott and Mr. Sterling, as we bring to you tonight's topic on chillers, on air conditioning and refrigeration talks. Before we go back to the formalities of the program, there is also another segment which I place within air conditioning and refrigeration talks, which is Schools That Shine Bright. So we will ask the director to play that little clip for us, and when he comes back, I'll explain to you all what I mean by schools that shine bright. So director, you can go ahead.
Principals, along with teachers, do their best to instill discipline, tolerance, and productivity in their students. Schools that excel should be celebrated. Let's celebrate schools that shine bright.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, schools that shine bright. What motivated me to place this segment into air conditioning and refrigeration talks is because of the fact over the years I've visited many schools, be it going to install equipment, working in school, and I came up with the idea that most of us would realize that we more see negative on social media where schools are concerned. And it dawned upon me, taking into consideration that I've visited many schools and see the professionalism within the schools, I mean in terms of the teachers, the students, and what I said, look, I think I shall play something like this in this program, School That Shine Bright. And what I will do is I will name a school every month or every 2 months as the case may be, and try to award that school with a plaque or something. I have already contacted a school, and this specific school is which motivated me to put this within air conditioning and refrigeration talks. I will consult the principal, I will get an award, and on that specific night on this program, we will present that award on behalf of air conditioning and refrigeration talk to the school that shine bright. I will also ask my stakeholders to give them an opportunity also to name a school which they believe is deserving of this award also, school that shine bright. So I think this is how I will go about this. So there are a few stakeholders who I will reach out to, and they will look into schools, not because the daughter or the son going to the school, but because of the fact they're seeing discipline, production within the school, and that could only come about by the principal, the teachers, and the students of themselves trying to live within the rules and regulations of the school. So enough said about that. As we move on, we'll take you back to the subject matter as we are speaking on air conditioning and refrigeration talks on chillers tonight. So I'll take you back to Mr. Sterling, who will give us an idea as to the chillers, and we were speaking about chillers in homes as a 12,000 BTU and what have you. So Sterling, back to you.
Right,
sir.
so as we explained with the same thing as the aspect of the residential units, where chill water concerned, 5-ton given cooling capacity. If you require a significant amount of cooling capacity, let's say 10 ton or 15 ton for a given space, let's say it's a bigger environment, trying to cool and maintain temperature within a home or a residence, we could put these systems in tandem, meaning one 5-ton condenser along with other 5-ton condenser, other 5-ton condenser accumulating to 15 ton of cooling capacity needed. Where tandem is, we get a more significant value. So when the 15 ton of cooling capacity cool that home, we have where we could actually turn off one unit after reaching set point. One unit will shut down, the other one would stage off, and the whole one condenser maintaining a perfect temperature of 44 degrees, controlling the area.
So therefore what you are saying, instead of saying with the DX systems or the air cooling systems, you don't see 5 condensers to facilitate 5 evaporators inside. We are speaking about one condenser and you'll be putting evaporators. That in itself sounds feasible, Mr. Scott. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's good. Well, it'll be fan coil units or chill water.
Right.
So it wouldn't be necessarily evaporators. Evaporators tied into the DX system. If you're talking chillers, it'll be a handle. But the industry is being transformed so much that chiller manufacturers are now using a lot of inverter technology within chill water systems.
Right.
And now that we are mandated to use a different type of refrigerant, systems are now being designed differently.
So true.
So the R410A and soon 134A will soon become a thing of the past. And they're now designing equipment to use a different type of refrigerant. 124YF and 455B and so on. So the industry continues to transform. As we continue to look for ways to lower global GWP, global warming potential of the refrigerants, and look for more energy efficient ways to design systems. So it continues to be exciting, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, and as you say, global warming, and just last night on the news, I saw on the TV6 news, the new Minister Kennedy Swaratsin, the Minister in the Economic Affairs Division, speaking on the climate change.
Right.
You see, this is what I'm saying, and all that incorporates air conditioning, Mr. Scott. Air conditioning is vast.
Yes.
And I'm saying, based on what you just indicated, the industry is being revolutionized for the different types of air conditioning systems, the different types of refrigerants being phased out. There are certain protocols to follow.
Yes.
And it's not just a man just coming at your house and charging you next to, you see, to me, I believe the industry, the engineer, the air conditioner, it's being watered down.
Right.
And I believe, for me, as I keep saying, I love what I do and I take passion in what I do. And you are in the industry 30-something years and you just didn't come just so and be where you are today. Likewise you, sir. So this is why we have to be more professional in our approach in terms of speaking to the public, to the people out there in terms of air conditioning and refrigeration.
And technicians should, again, contact the association. The only recognized air conditioning association in Trinidad area. They have a host of training available to ensure that technicians keep up with the change in technology and the change in the regulations and so on. I mean, yes, sure, you can get everything online, which is a good avenue to research and so on, but there is actual training available at area so people could remain informed and updated to the changes, because it's happening rapidly. And if you don't keep up, you'll get left behind.
Yes. So I see we are coming to a close. We just have 2 minutes, so within 2 minutes I'll ask Mr. Scott and Mr. Sterling just to give a little overview in closing. So the floor is open to you all for the last 2 minutes.
I would just like to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come and speak on chillers. I am passionate about this industry, and I look forward to seeing this platform grow from strength to strength. This is such a wonderful opportunity to showcase what we're passionate about and to educate people, inform consumers and so on. And I wish you all the best, and I hope and pray that this only goes from strength to strength.
I thank you, and Mr. Sterling.
Yes, I also thank you for the opportunity here to speak live on television about chill waters. Chill water system was a blessed opportunity here, explaining as little or as much as we could have in this short space of time.
Yes, sir.
But I hope you understand a little bit about chillers. Feel free to contact us. As he said, ARIA, well, from my experience at Peak Technologies, we have open calls allowed, we have free consultation, free site visits, free service opportunities, offers to do a site visit or orientation, bring you in, show you a unit, teach you about it,
Very good,
show
very
you the
good.
safeties, the requirements, as he said, the application. It all boils down to the application of the use of a chill water system.
Thank you very much. So ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for staying with us. And as we go from strength to strength, pleasant night.
Dear kind and loving Father, who art in heaven, as we embark on this venture in the interest of the air conditioning and refrigeration industry, we ask, dear God, that our discussions and interactions be meaningful, respectful, and transparent as we strive to uplift the standards in these industries, especially the air conditioning industry. We ask, dear God, that you grant us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to engage in a meaningful way and bring about positive change. Amen.